We're sorry.
We're here.
We're here.
We made it. Haha. I wasn't ready for it. How we doing today, Jonathan? It's Monday morning. It's Tuesday morning. Jeepers.
I'm pretty sure it's Monday.
It feels like a Monday, doesn't it? We got some big stuff going today. It's going to be a big day here at the Dakotan. We've got a fun episode of Minot Talk scheduled, lined up, ready to roll right now. We're live across the board, Facebook, YouTube, I think on X as well. Thanks, everyone, for joining in with us today. Going to break down last night's city council, of course. Got big news. We have a new police chief, or at least a conclusion to have a new police chief. He doesn't start, immediately. But
Frye's your guy.
Frye is the guy. Michael Frye, a new chief of police here in Minot. That's the big takeaway. Then we got a little event going on tonight too. So,
Is that today?
I think so. Something happening tonight.
Isn't that next week?
I don't think so. It's the 17th. Today's June 17th.
Whoa.
I know.
Whoa,
so we're going to preview the debate, the mayoral debate, a little bit today too.
Whoa.
Maybe talk a little bit about the new NDGPOP chair.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
love it.
Let's talk about it. What about city council? Are we going to talk about that at all?
I think, yeah, we're going to recap it. We're going to break it down.
Going to bring the recap.
I was there. I was sitting.
We're going to bring the cap with the recap.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah? My guy's having one this morning, aren't you?
Yeah, I took my drink today and put my purple drops in.
As you always do.
As we always do. Somehow I missed the bottle. And there it went all over my mouse pad, my mouse, on my desk.
I'm disappointed. So that's why nothing electronic worked this morning.
No, that's just because you were turning it all on.
Yeah, that's probably reasonable as well. Yeah, that's fair.
All right. So
should we start with city council?
We should.
All right. Obviously, the big news, Michael Frye, new chief of police.
Can I interject? Because this is what I do. If somebody wanted to before the debate, take a preview. We have all of our candidate interviews released.
We do. You're right.
Yeah. I feel like that's decent news.
That is a good thing to start with, frankly.
Yeah.
Jonathan did a great job over the past couple weeks doing interviews with all four of the mayoral candidates, and they are all up and out and ready to be viewed.
Yeah. They're done. They're out.
They are.
We encourage you to view them so that way you know your candidates. Yep. And then show up at the debate tonight and ask questions.
Please, because we're going to have...
Via the way that we have you ask questions.
Yes. we have multiple ways that you're going to be able to submit questions, whether it be online that we already have available. And
some people are using this platform that we have, and we'll drop it down in the comments like right now. But some people are using this platform that we have to ask questions as though like we're going to go and ask these questions that are at one person that have already been answered probably by our interviews and other things. Probably not going to ask those type of questions. The ones where I don't have any off the top of my head, but they're just, they're a great question for you to ask them directly because that would bring the clarity you need. As far as on a debate stage, they don't really portray the stuff that we're trying to get portrayed there.
Especially with the time crunch we're going to be under with everything, trying to get it done in a certain amount of time. There's only so much if we're asking each person an individualized question, it's just going to make it too choppy in that section. Yeah. It'll be a lot better flow if we're able to ask some stuff that's a little bit more generalized.
And so we definitely think those discussions are important, though. So it'd be a great thing for you to ask them directly. However that works for you. Which
there will be a little bit of an opportunity to do that as well, hopefully. Doors opening at 6 o'clock tonight at the Mouse River Players Theater. We will have a little bit of a meet and greet time frame for you to ask some questions of the candidates if they're available for, roughly probably up to about 15 minutes prior to the event. Then we're going to have to start getting everything ready to roll, and it's going to be a fun time.
There'll be some food.
Yeah.
There'll be some
drinks.
Some fruit punch, some water.
Heck yeah.
Some cookies.
It's a classic.
Kyla will be there.
I will. Be all suited up.
Waldo will be there. Kyler. But anyways, all right.
On to city council.
Yeah.
All right. We'll jump back into the debate a little bit later so we can break it all down. But last night, big city council meeting, the second of the month of June. Everyone was there last night. That was great to see. Love to see when it's a full house, all six council
Everyone
members.
except one.
Well, yeah, I mean, as full as it gets right now,
Yeah.
it happens. But again, big news leading off. Michael Frye, new chief of police here in Minot. I think he will bring a great change, and I think he's going to be a great candidate for chief.
I love how we're at the point where breaking news is when city manager submits a recommendation. That's where we're at in the news in Minot.
Hey, gotta push it to get it out.
Breaking news. Agenda released for Monday night city council.
It's big news, that he's recommending that he's going to be there.
Anyways,
and then
Frye
he was chosen. He did, and there's a really
Frye
cool.
is the guy.
There's a really cool kind of little caveat with it too. So they're going to make a new position for.
This is what we'd been hearing.
Interim chief Dale Plessis. Yep, he's going to become the deputy chief now, and so they're going to remove that captain's position that he's in, and they're going to transform it into a deputy chief role. And so he's going to be right there under Frye. He's going to be helping in that transition period as Frye gets accustomed to everything. So I think that'll be a great little caveat to look forward to.
Seems like for Plessis, the role could be labeled chief in waiting.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like at this stage he's the equivalent of J.D. Vance to Trump in Minot's chief of police pecking order at this point.
That's not going to make a lot of people happy.
Well, I mean, generally speaking, in what it means, not specific.
Can you be a vice king?
So I think that's called an heir at that point.
Oh, I see. I see.
But yeah, shout out to everyone commenting and giving us all the.
We'll get to that. All right. So Frye is in place. Plessis is the chief in waiting. He's this deputy chief. This came off of a recommendation from the
city manager,
but also after the police report and stuff like that, I believe that they were saying that maybe restructure how the leadership worked. So this is part of that.
Yeah. Change in the command structure.
Yep. So I'm excited about this.
100%.
I think it'll be great.
That was the big kickoff news. Then there was a couple, guess what, 3-3 votes last night.
Yay. Hey, I'm fine with 3-3. I don't love 3-3 votes, but I'm fine with them. I hate the tabled ones.
Fair. That's reasonable. At least it got turned down this way. First one, there was a proposal to send a letter of support to the federal administration of Job Corps in hopes that it would sway some minds that it's a program that's worth keeping. And I mean, that's neither here nor there, but it was a 3-3 vote, so there will not be a letter sent from Minot in support of Job Corps.
What do you think about that?
Okay, so there's two sides of this.
Well, yes, obviously.
There's multiple sides to this. It's a D20 dice here.
Yeah.
So, I don't see a reason not to send it. I think that it's fine, and here's the caveat to that, because us sending this letter isn't going to do anything anyways. Nothing's going to come from the letter. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
But I think I don't see any reason why they shouldn't have sent it.
So basically, the reason was that we're doing necessary cutbacks, so why would we send a letter?
Yeah, that's the take of the three that voted against effectively. This is big government in a place it doesn't need to be, expanding things, and maybe it's good what it does, but specifically it's maybe not necessary in the big picture kind of thing. So no letter coming there.
Jeff Hader says, I expected them to sign a letter of support for Job Corps. Job Corps has acknowledged they need reform. If they come back, I can't imagine it will be as it was before. I'd hate to see that complex sit and rot. And I agree. Because guess what? That will also be a problem for the city.
Yep. Because same thing. Guess who's going to eventually have to deal with that?
The city council.
Crazy how that's going to work out.
Yeah.
Just like that empty building downtown Minot.
So we're Trinity used to?
Yeah, something like that. There's a big hospital there or something. Yeah. And we're just going to ignore it till Trinity finally gives up on it, I guess. Right. But that's a whole different bite.
It is. But so I was surprised when they didn't do it. I understand where they were coming from, but I don't know. I think it stinks to see Job Corps go away, and we're not going to address that either, at least right now. We asked one of the candidates what they thought about it. They were interested in trying to find a way to get it back. I think it's a good thing for the city of Minot. I understand that finances are tough at any level of government right now, but this is one where I think it has a direct impact on the economy. So,
yeah, 100%. And on top of the economy, the people that go into the program as well. It's a good stepping stone for a lot of them.
It's a win-win situation. Yeah. It helps the city. It helps the people.
Yep. And unfortunately, it's one of those things that's federally funded, and we don't have a lot of direct control over the immediate impact of how that plays out. So
I think it does ask the bigger question, though, for federally funded programs that are 100% federally funded. Mm-hmm. What are we doing to diversify that? Is there a way? Maybe there's just no way for some of the programs, understandably. But if there's at all a way for local people to get involved, for other levels of government to get involved, they need to be looking at that. The idea that you go and you put yourself in a position where you rely 100% on one line of revenue from a government source, where if that dries up, you're just done, is pretty insane.
You're right, and you actually make a great point, because later in the council meeting, that same kind of line of, or a parallel situation kind of presented itself. And just to cut ahead a little bit to the end of the meeting, the chief, Kelly from the fire department, came up because there was
So what you call her? You don't like to call her by her last name?
Cronschnabel.
Good job.
I can do it.
Good job.
Everyone calls her Chief Kelly, so I do as well. Earlier this year, end of last year, there was this grant that came up. It was called SAFER grant. It was to make sure, or to help find new staffing for fire departments or emergency services that maybe are a little below the preferred threshold, or maybe if they got these extra staff, they could bump up to a 4-person crew kind of thing instead of a 3-person crew on a fire truck. And it was going to be a grant that would cover the first 3 years of payment for the new employees, and it would hire 6 people. And apparently there were some delays in the grant because it was getting rewritten a little bit. So when she came up last night, there was a pretty notable change. The grant is due by July 3rd, I believe, but now instead of it being a full 100%, grant paid out, the city is required to match. Yeah. And it's required a 25% match through those 3 years, which I believe they said added up to some $300,000 is what the city would end up having to pay for that over that time, which again,
not a ton of money in a $200 million budget, but there comes from property tax portion. And property tax portion is a lot smaller in that budget. And the state rolled that 3% increases.
So that's
max.
Yep. That is one of those issues where something goes from being fully federally funded and now it gets taken away a little bit. So the city might have to put itself into it, but because of how the budget constraints are, and with this specifically, it kind of wipes it off the table. You had city manager Harold Stewart, who said that it was going to be
actually was against it. Yeah,
it would be like, he loves the fire department, police department. He's been a huge advocate for them, but in this specific instance, I mean, he had to effectively go against it because it's going to be hard to budget this in for 26, 7, and 8 with everything that's already going on. And then on top of it, you would have to, starting in 2029, pay out those employees' salaries in full from the city. Yeah. So now you're extending that even further, and it ended up getting voted down so that the city's not even going to submit the grant at this point. There was a chance that, we could submit it, and then if we get approved, we could decline it or maybe try to negotiate some of the funding from it. But I think it was a 4-2. It's not going to end up coming up.
Definitely an interesting turn of events there. It's always interesting when the city manager gives a recommendation, and then there's discussion against it. I won't dive into that one today.
Fair. Yeah. No.
I have a place I was thinking of going, but I won't.
Fair enough. With that same topic we're on, though, it was with that 4-2 vote that came up. I think the 2 that were against it that were for still submitting the grant and going from there, it was Janser and Olson. Then Pittner, Samuelson, Blessum, and Fuller voted to just, at this point, there's no reason.
Olson specifically made the comment that we haven't even gotten to the place where we're that far into it. We don't. Maybe we should submit it and just kind of have it there as an option, and then if we don't want it, we don't have to use it. It wasn't that she was advocating to go fully on it, because she hadn't seen the budget yet. Yeah. But city manager was like, there's no room in it. in the budget for it.
Like they're already struggling to find other places because again we've discussed this. Last year was the area where they kind of trimmed the fat off of it, and now they're kind of at a point where outside of I mean obviously if you start cutting jobs you can do it, but that's no one wants to do that. That's no one's first choice. So now they're having to find alternate routes to start making those places found at this point.
Right.
And that was an interesting one. So it just kind of shows the duality of how federal dollars impact us locally.
Yeah,
and
it does.
You might not think even in Minot that these things come and trickle down this far, but they still do, to a big degree.
Sad.
And another one, again, on that same line is Souris River Public Transport. Has some issues with that too.
There was some discussion on that one as well.
That's going to still be in place through most of the rest of the year, I know, but like there's definitely a lot of questions on the future of it by the way the council was discussing, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out over time. But again, there shouldn't be any immediate impacts on that the way it sounds.
Yeah. The only thing that I think is positive about some of this stuff is there's becoming a higher level of accountability. Mm-hmm. Or one of the key things that is positive is there's becoming a higher level of accountability that's being forced into these positions. Mm-hmm. And that's good. It's uncomfortable, but it makes people actually defend the reason why it needs to be there and the role that it is, and it gets people a little more articulated on that, which is really positive because it gets rid of unnecessary stuff and it makes people hone in on why they're actually doing what they're doing rather than adding a bunch of auxiliary services that cost money that maybe aren't necessary but are a lot of fun.
Yeah. So it's part of that tightening of the belt, but also and
there's positive things from it.
Yeah, you can. It's a good thing to see them become more accountable, and I don't think anyone's going to argue that. And this is something that certainly is pushing towards that.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
So those are some of those big federally affected kind of things that were coming through the meeting last night. One other interesting one too. There's some we'll start with there's some repairs that are going to be coming to the airport.
Yeah.
This is an
interesting discussion.
It's about a 10-year-old building, and it needs a new PA system and computer system, which that's not, 10 years can be quick in technology, but you had Mike Blessum say, come with the counterpoint like, hey, it's only still like, it's going to be a little behind, but 10 years is quick.
I agree that 10 years, is a long time in technology if you're using PC. Mm-hmm. If you're using Apple, then it's not, because Apple's the bomb.
You're not, and it sounded like they were using a DOS system.
Dude, Apple, 10 years in Apple is still a long time. There's a 2015 MacBook that I work with sometimes at the church, and like the battery is swollen now, stuff like that. It literally could blow up any day.
Just explode on you when you're charging it.
Oh, that'd be a mess. Yeah, but that's I don't know. So DOS system.
It's
crazy,
super outdated. But again, it's
those type of systems normally are. Yeah, like they're cutting edge, and then there's no updates forever,
and then it's done. And because of it now, they're trying to update new parts of the system that TSA requires, and those updates aren't going through, or they'll go through and then they kind of
the
fall
word
away,
that was used was they don't stick.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. And just there needs to be a little bit of a change in it for the airport, but there's also a bigger picture of this whole thing that I think the city manager did a phenomenal job pointing out. You had him mention the construction of the airport itself. And there's some interesting caveats with this, because the airport, if you've ever been to it or if you've seen it driven past, it's a phenomenal facility. It looks phenomenal from the outside. The architecture is incredibly unique, and it's a really cool design. Well, a lot of these designs aren't necessarily super withholding of North Dakota winters and climate. Like, if you look at it, the roof of it has a big divot in it and then goes up. It's like a kind of a wavy kind of thing. Super cool looking.
Very pretty.
However, in the wintertime, guess what? We get a ton of snow.
There's a bunch of water that gets there.
Yes. And so every spring, and when you get some really bad thunderstorms, you have leaks in the... I used to work at the airport. You have leaks in the roof. Yeah, and it's...
Were you TSA?
I was not. I was in the rental car side of it. But on the on top of that too, the way some of the doors are set up, if it's super windy out there, because they're automatic doors, so if you push them open for emergency exit purposes, well, the wind gets so windy at the right angle, it'll just blow the emergency doors wide open.
Sweet, dude.
So, and it's just, there's a couple little caveats to the whole thing where you really question the long-term durability of something being built in the middle of the tundra.
Yeah.
And they built it like that. Again, it's a super nice facility. It's beautiful. They did generally a good job with it, but you can tell that
our engineering team has some questions, basically.
The architect behind it, maybe, it was questionable on the full-on design of everything with how we have our climate here.
Right.
But
Zach, yes, I would. Yes, I would go there.
What'd you do?
I think it was the Apple versus.
Oh, yeah. That is a Jonathan one. Yeah. You're right. I love it. But yeah, that was the big airport news. More flood stuff coming up. The bridge that was going to be built out in Velva as part of the big flood project got approved, but once again came in over budget, as with
by substantial,
like 18%. I think Alderman Fuller said.
Yeah. So he Alderman Fuller used the number that we're up above, just above $1 billion in damages. Mm-hmm. Do we know how much the flood cost?
I believe it was a little over $1 billion. But I'd have to double check that number. That's off the top of my head. Yeah. And so we're already, it's been a process, and there's not an end in sight, but it's a process that we're too far in to just drop at this point. And I don't know where they keep going. Do they just try to halt everything? And, I feel like there's a side where you could try to, but again, where you're going to find the money to expedite everything, to try to get everything done as quickly as physically possible. So that way in 3, 4, 5 years, you can get, 95% of what's necessary done. I don't know how feasible that is even remotely, but I feel like that could be one of the plans, or you just try to start pausing things till you can find a better. But if you start pausing things, inflation's not going to go away. I mean, just generally with life, prices are going to go up over time, let alone when you have inflationary periods like we've had recently. And it's really a tough back and forth with that, because, I mean, the only other option than those two I can personally see at this point is you just try to find someone to come in and completely revamp the project at this point to see how you can get it done differently in a quicker, cheaper manner when it's already half done a different way.
Right. Yeah. No. I don't think you can do that.
That's a mess in its own right. So
right. It's crazy that it costs 2-3 times as much as the damage of it. Mm-hmm. So,
and I guess the argument for that would be that it's preventing twice that future cost in damages if we
100 years from now
flood event, exactly, for our grandchildren. But I mean, I guess, who knows? It'll be a project that's not going away anytime quickly. And
it's necessary.
It is. At this point especially. There's no going back now. We're 14 years into, we're almost to the date, almost 14 years into it.
I was at the most recent flood meeting and just listening to people there. There's an area, I don't remember exactly where it was on the map, but an area where they weren't protected unless there's a temporary dike that was put up. Mm-hmm. And they were almost a little bit upset about it. And the guys explained, all right, first off, let's realize this was a 100-year flood event. So most likely you're not going to be affected by this in a flood. And then if you are, we have the majority of the city covered. So now when we go to do our emergency flood protection efforts, there'll be places like this that'll be prioritized because it just finishes the loops, rather than if they actually did it all the way, they'd have to reroute roads. It was going to be a huge pain. So it's this is very low. It's almost at the very edge of it. So there's people that are still concerned about the idea of 100-year flood hitting their home. Mm-hmm. So it's very real for people still.
For sure. And it's a forever thing that'll be in people's minds. It's it
won't forever.
Well,
there will be a generation that rises.
Because I was going to use a comparison. You had 10 Mile Island, Chernobyl happen within a decade of each other with nuclear power
Yeah.
40, 50 years ago. And that
I don't remember
completely,
that.
well, and here's where I'm getting to, because
Mm-hmm.
the people that it happened to in that time frame effectively wrote nuclear power off for the rest of their generation.
Not Kyler.
However, fast forward now a couple generations later, it's all of a sudden coming back because
Kyler's about nuclear power.
Yes, I am, but that's not the point in this specific one. It's that things change over time and new technologies are made, new advancements happen, and so minds can be changed eventually.
Yeah, yeah. The when you're not affected by it, then you bring a different kind of reasonability, whether that's good or bad, but a different kind of reasoning to the table.
Exactly.
People still remember their pictures, their valuables. They're not their valuables, but they're things that they'll never be able to replace. They still remember losing those, and so then they don't like the flood.
It's always going to, it's always going to be there. That home is not there anymore.
Yep, absolutely. So, all right, let's go take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk more stuff.
All right,
because that's what we're good at here.
We are good at
talking.
talking.
We're not very good at it.
In the demanding world of oil and gas, precision, safety, and efficiency are non-negotiable. Unmanned operator drone services revolutionizes how you monitor, inspect, and manage your operations. With cutting-edge technology and expert operators, we deliver real-time data, detailed reports, and actionable insights for our valuable clients. Why risk the safety of your team or waste precious time? Our drones access even the most challenging areas with ease, reducing downtime and enhancing safety across your sites. We take the guesswork out of your projects by offering LiDAR, mapping, and inspection services so that your projects stay safe, on budget, and on time. Unmanned operator drone services, where technology meets safety, precision, and efficiency. Contact us today to elevate your operations. Yes, pun intended.
Enjoy Minot's finest authentic Mexican cuisine with a view at Mi Mexico. The rooftop patio is open and ready for you to enjoy a margarita or other cool refreshment along with genuine mouth-watering Mexican entrees. Mi Mexico, South Broadway.
We're back. Just
Hi.
like that. Yeah.
I'm Kyler.
I'm Jonathan. And now we're going to talk about other stuff besides city council.
Yeah, I think we got that pretty well wrapped up. Do you want to start with what's going on tonight?
Let's do it. So first off, big time mayoral debate going on. The only mayoral debate still.
Yes.
There's other things to get to know your candidates, but there's not a debate.
There's a meet and greet. There's like a forum, but this is the only debate where we're going to allow them to go at each other a little bit.
And for sure, it's the only debate at the Master River Players Theater,
Without a doubt. If someone else has
where
one.
food's also going to be served.
Yes, free for the public, free to attend, free to get in.
6 p.m. meet and greet.
7 p.m.
Appetizers.
Yep. Debate starts at 7.
And it's the only debate that we know of that's also going to be on 106.9.
K-Hits 106.9. Freshly nostalgic.
Yeah, don't mess that up. All right.
No, fantastic. Yeah, we're going to be live on K-Hits, live on YouTube, live on Facebook, all of our streaming platforms. You'll be able to find it. You'll be able to watch it later if by chance you can't make it tonight, or if you get it tonight and you want to rewatch something.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? If you don't watch it tonight, you are going to be missing out on the conversations at work tomorrow.
You're right. This will be the water cooler discussion in Minot tomorrow.
Right.
I love it. Gosh, that's cool.
So make sure that you tune in tonight. Show up, have a good time. We're gonna have a couple door prizes.
Yeah, gonna have some giveaway stuff.
Please, way for you to enter for those. We're gonna have a way for you to submit questions, and then if you're live in person, we plan on having a little survey you got to take at the end.
Yeah.
To get us some numbers to kind of see how Minot's feeling about this whole thing.
See how we're feeling right after the debate and how everyone's going forward. And we'll definitely talk about that on Thursday. I'll have those ready to roll.
Do you have any big predictions for the debate?
It goes well.
How many people are going to get told that they have to stop talking?
How many? 3 people will.
3 people. Just one time each?
I won't guess on frequency of it. I hope no more than once or twice each.
Yeah. You won't guess on it.
Because we have rules. Okay. If these people, here are some of the rules. Yeah. Well, the format of it first, we're going to give everyone a chance to do an opening statement. Then Jonathan and I are going to go back and forth with a couple different rounds that we have set up, different topic rounds. We're going to go back and forth for that for a while, let the candidates kind of have at it for a bit, and then we're going to go with the community question section. And then finally, if we have time, we'll give everyone a chance for a closing statement.
Oh, we'll have time for a closing statement.
We're going to make time for a closing statement. Yeah. So everyone's going. So for generally speaking, on all the questions, everyone's going to have. I guess we'll start with opening statements. They'll have 2 minutes apiece to go through, present their campaigns. We'll go in probably ballot order to start.
I have an idea.
What's that?
What we messed up.
Do we not do?
Wouldn't it have been a way more fun to have this like candidate Olympics?
Get them to do like a decathlon or something?
Where they have to go, but with the dumbest games ever. They have to get, it's a race to see how many people, like, these are the dumb games you play, right? You get a straw and you have to suck a marshmallow at the straw and then get across the room to the other table.
Make a fool of themselves, yes.
And then if you win this, you definitely should be mayor.
If you're willing to do all that, you have every right to be mayor at that point.
All right, keep going.
So 2 minute opening statements. Then we're going to have the moderator guided part of it. Each round begins with a little introduction of the topic. We're going to ask one primary question per round, maybe then with some follow-ups.
This is a little adjustable, but
this is all
in theory
fluid. Yes. Each candidate then we're going to give about 90 seconds to provide their initial response. Then us moderator will signal. We're either going to have a little.
We plan on having a timer that they can watch that tick away.
So nothing's too confusing. There's a clear spot for that to know.
We're gonna have a loud buzzer, beep.
And following their initial responses, we'll start opening up the floor for rebuttals. If they directly call out a candidate, we'll allow that person to respond, and they'll have. This will be the interesting part, is because we're going to try to do our best to balance everything then, so everyone has a fair chance of responding. However, if a candidate significantly or unnecessarily exceeds their allotted speaking time, or if a back and forth takes up too much time, the moderators will begin deducting time from the candidate's next response.
Basically, we don't want to go to the whole muting mics and all that, so it's basically like, hey, I get it. Somebody goes over by 5 seconds, even 10 seconds. It's like, whatever.
Wrap up your point.
But when you're going over by 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute, they're going to be like, hey, like, this is a little bit much. Mm-hmm. You do that again. If you can continue to exceed your time, then we're going to just deduct it from your next answer.
Yeah. And we're hoping we're not going to have to do that. But again,
we're not trying to be mean. We're trying to have fun.
Exactly. Trying to make it
get
smooth
informed.
Yes. Because if there is a good back and forth, we want to let it play out a little bit.
Let it happen.
But at the same time, if it takes 5 minutes, we can't. We got to have
too much.
Yeah, we got to have a reasonable.
It would be way more fun, and it's been a while since we did it. But unfiltered discussion that. Like, that's the kind of stuff that we'd love to have, where you just have a topic and let them go to town and let them chew each other up. And if there was only 2 candidates, we would do that.
Yeah.
Style more, but with 4 candidates, there's no way that it's going to be productive enough.
No, and I mean, we found that out when there was 4 of us trying to even speak on it.
There'd be times somebody would get passionate, and it was nobody was doing it nefariously, but they'd be a little more passionate on the topic, and they'd take a little more time on the topic.
Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things. Time constraints are going to be a part of the thing, so we do got to worry about it. Then when we get to the community question part, we've selected a few already, and hopefully we're going to get a few more picked out from the community submitted questions when we get some tonight at the debate as well. But we're going to go through and we're going to give everyone about 90 seconds per response. And then hopefully we'll have a chance for some brief, back and forths afterwards. If we have a clarification we need from it, we will. But we're going to try to make that one a little bit quicker so we can get through as many questions as we can.
Yeah.
Then, of course, everyone will get a closing statement.
It's going to be great, man.
I look forward to it, my guy. It's going to be a blast. Yeah. Then on Thursday, make sure you tune in. 9 a.m. We'll break down all the debate as well.
Right. That's what Kyler's going to do.
Yes, I got some special guests going to be coming into the studio on Thursday. It's going to be a fun time.
It's going to be a good one. Looking forward to that.
I am too. I'm more nervous for that on Thursday than I am the debate tonight.
What a letdown. What a letdown.
I'm excited for the debate. I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, I think that covers it pretty well. Come. It's a community event. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
That's the biggest deal.
Get out. Feel like you're being engaged in Minot's going on. It's going to be a fun event. It's going to be a good night. Some snacks, some food. Again, get a chance to meet the candidates if you haven't already. And then on top of that, we will going through a debate. And again, if you can't watch in person, we'll be streaming online. And of course, K-Hits 106.9.
Every single time Kyler, sorry about that. Every single time Kyler does that, he is actually doing this as something that he can submit. So that way he could become a
disc jockey.
A disc jockey.
DJ. I'll be the night shift. I'll do the graveyard.
Yeah, he'll do whatever it takes.
Be Kyler talks at
he
12.
auditions every single chance he gets.
I mean, I audition for everything every chance I get. This whole debate is an audition.
What?
If
he doesn't know yet.
Moderate something.
You already are the MC at the fair.
There's one of at the parade, and there's like 8 people doing that. So I'm one of a part of a team.
Yeah. What's that audition for?
It's just because it sounded like fun.
But it's an audition for something you said.
Everything.
All right.
Always.
So hit up the next article.
New NDGOP chair is also been elected and decided on after a lot of contention. Obviously, I guess maybe not obviously if you don't follow this too closely, but former NDGOP chair Sandy Sanford. She served 1 term. She's the wife of former Lieutenant Governor Brent Sanford. She dropped.
Yeah, it's sad that she's gone.
Yeah, she backed out.
I'm sad.
Didn't want to deal with.
I liked her.
Did you? Yeah, I know you had a chance to talk with her a few times.
It was cool.
And yeah, so she moved on. She didn't want to deal with the contention. She was ready to see some new leadership come up, and there were 3 candidates that came to the surface.
Yeah, you had an article up about that. Yep. One of them is, and I don't even know how this would have worked. It's the liaison for the city between the legislature and City of Minot, Shane Gettle.
Yeah, I got a sneaky feeling he might not have been able to.
Yeah.
I don't know, actually. Probably.
Yeah, I don't know. Feels like when it comes to all that stuff, there's a lot of blurry lines in North Dakota.
There is, that's for sure. But yeah, Shane Gettle, who we're familiar with up here in Minot, was one of the candidates running for chair. He's obviously our liaison to the legislature. He served with John Hoeven's administration before. And then you had former state senator Judy Estenson of Warwick, and then District 8 NDGOP vice chair Matthew Simon, that's kind of by like outside of Bismarck a little bit. And he's the one who ended up winning.
He did.
Yep, it was a contentious vote, of course.
No way, not on the Republicans.
Who would have thought, right? The Republican infighting? Never. It was, go ahead.
24-22. Yeah. After what?
There was, I think, 5 or 6 rounds of secret balloting, or five, yes.
5 rounds of secret balloting.
So no one,
crazy.
Yeah, no one knows who you're voting for, but it takes a while to get it settled on. And they finally did. They got Matthew Simon picked out. So it kind of shows, I mean, this isn't something new by any means, but it once again kind of shows the rift between the long-term establishment Republicans and...
Not the disparity, but the dispersion of how wide of views there are in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
So some of that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit too far wide right now, but it's good to have a huge a contrast in views.
Yeah. It's good to have that, like you said, contrast, so you can have that discussion internally.
Republicans have struggled to unify, though. They have very, very strong opinions over there.
There's a flip, because that's the flip side to the whole thing. It's like, it's good to have these discussions, and it's good to have this ability to have a little bit of friction, but it's turned into more than just a little bit at this point. State committee passed some resolutions rebuking Governor Armstrong and the legislator over recent bills, specifically his library bill. They issued a censure on him.
Yeah, I guess he's going to step down now.
Yeah, he is just mortified from that impact that it'll have from the GOP. Yeah, right. He doesn't care. I think that's a quote, "I don't care," from him. So, again, it's... I guess if they want to actually do something, recall the legislator, try to overturn the veto, but they already tried to do that and it didn't work. So
let's go fracture the party a little more.
Why not, right?
First order of business, fracture party.
There was our friend of the show, Rob Port, had an article out contrasting the Republicans. I don't want to say moral compass necessarily. That's a little harsh, but you're censuring Kelly Armstrong for what he did with vetoing the library book ban, which I understand the arguments for that. It's to protect the kids, but you're allowing other state legislators to go uncensured after getting multiple offenses. I don't want to go too deep into the weeds with it.
Yeah, this feels like it's a very weeded. Actually, there might actually be alligators in this one.
Yeah, 100%. But
This might be the Everglades. I'm not sure.
It just shows that there is I don't want to say hypocrisy, but there's a contrast of opinions in the party leadership on what should be done to whom.
There was also something else that happened this weekend.
What's that?
We're in the weeds. There's protests
We're
throughout
deep.
the nation.
Yeah, all over the place.
All right. I love the fact that America gives the right for people to protest.
Mm-hmm.
But on a personal note, I didn't like the line that no kings. Thing is it got a lot of attention. So
Mm-hmm.
from that side, effective.
Very much so.
The messaging, I felt like that was poor.
It was very broad. It wasn't very...
No kings was not broad.
Well, I mean, the title wasn't, but the actual messaging that took place at most of these was very broad.
That's fair.
But I want, before we dive all the way into that, I have a little sidebar on this whole thing. So
Let's hear it.
we at the Dakotan, it's a two-man team for the most part, and we
Kyler's getting real. Kyler's
we
getting real today.
and we aggregate a lot of the information that
We aggregate some of the information.
Yes, that we post on the website. If either of us write it, we put our names on it, and a lot of times we'll do some stuff together that we'll just put as the Dakotan.
Yep.
However, a lot of the sources that we use, we have...
When we use outside sources, a lot of it is North Dakota Monitor.
Yes. And they are a nonprofit that allows us to do so. There's maybe one or two other places we can get news from, but those are national places. And this is the one local one that we're able to easily and effectively aggregate information from. So us doing that...
It's great. But anyways, get to the point. You're in the weeds right now.
There's a lot of people that were upset about the posts that we've had, whether it be over...
There's two, measles and the protests. But they weren't upset at us about the protesting. They're upset at us about the measles. Like, we got asked if we got bought out by the Fargo Forum.
Yeah.
And that was pretty good.
So
we wish.
If anyone's if you want us to write every article, I understand maybe we don't love all that they post, and I get that. So,
And then
we try to credit them all the time.
But there was some pretty solid discussion going on in the one about the protests.
Yeah, there's blowing
But
up.
yeah, what do you think that? No, so somebody I liked, or I didn't like, but I thought it was funny. The one comment like, "All right, are we against Canada again?" That was such a solid line.
Canada's got a king.
Somebody else said, if there was kings, and these are all against it. I understand that there's a very much point to the protests and all that, and I don't, like I said, the only thing was the no king, and I get that comes from the idea that Trump is taking too much power, is where it comes from, and at times he does, but the idea also that somebody's like, if there was a king in place, then you wouldn't be able to be protesting.
Nah, that's a point.
That's a fair point. That's a very honest point.
Yep. Minot had a pretty good turnout for the event,
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Nationally they had a good turnout.
Yeah, it was all over the country. Again, like you said, it was great turnout for this event. It coincided with the Flag Day, and which also is Trump's birthday, coincidentally, and big military parade that took place in D.C. And then
when did you start planning that?
Oh, like a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm not discounting anything. I'm just saying it all adds up. And then, I think Minot had, I think they estimated 400 to 500 people. There's definitely a few hundred people there in the pictures. That whole block from
Trinity's parking lot.
Yeah, Trinity's parking lot was pretty
Just
much...
call it what it is.
Yeah, former Trinity's parking lot.
Still Trinity's parking lot.
It is, yeah, you're right. That whole parking lot from next to Broadway was pretty much full of people. Great turnout for that, and just really I look forward to going in depth on this a little bit more on Thursday with one of our guests.
Y'all have fun. I'm glad I'm not there for that one.
And Jonathan's gone this Thursday.
Yeah, I'm gone this Thursday. Yeah, honestly, that's gonna be a fun discussion to listen to.
It'll be.
So I'll look forward to it.
Back half Thursday afternoon or Thursday morning, excuse me. So look forward to that. And as always, big protest, good turnout. What else happened in
as
Minot?
always.
I was going to mention this too. The Air Force Base had a big open house and air show that was going to be on Saturday and got canceled that morning.
Yeah, you would bring that up.
Well,
They got concerned about security, I think.
After there's
Not because of the protest, most likely.
No, not probably had something to do with it.
Although they did escalate like their security on base substantially.
Yeah, I did hear that afterwards.
Yeah, so
like you have to get searched to get on base, kind of thing. If you don't have like a regular pass or whatever,
it's something to kind of keep an eye on. Sometimes those are little triggers that kind of sometimes speak to bigger things, and sometimes they don't.
Trump left the G7 event.
He could have just got sick of it and had an excuse.
Well,
let's be real.
But I mean, he said it was.
I mean, he said get out of Tehran.
Yeah, he literally told Tehran to evacuate. So we'll see how that plays out.
Did you get out?
I think that we have no reason going in.
Bro, it was a joke. You're getting serious. Obviously, you weren't in Tehran.
I wasn't. We're not in Iran.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, guys. Sorry,
for the
Kyler and I didn't sync up on those ones.
We missed that one.
Yeah.
Normally we can hit it pretty well at this point, but I missed that one. That went right over my head.
All right. Sweet. All right.
Yeah. Anything else you got for me, Jonathan?
I think Thursday's going to be a great show. Going to have a debate recap and are going to have break down some meaning behind the protests.
Yep. We're going to go, break down that, go over some other national stuff in the back half of it, and then first half we're going to be all about the debate breakdown.
Yeah. It's going to be epic.
It's going to be fun. I look forward to it. I look forward to the debate tonight. June 17th. That is today. 6 p.m. Mouse River Players Theater. It's going to be a fantastic night as always. I just hope it goes
it's going to go great
as planned. I hope it doesn't go off the rails. Please, anybody coming in, don't make
Why? Why? It's not going to happen unless you start speaking it.
I won't speak nothing. It's going to be a great night. Thanks, everybody. I hope you guys all show up. Thanks, everybody, as always, for watching. I'm going to try to make this not go completely off the rails at the end here. Jonathan, any final takeaways?
Make sure you like, subscribe, and stay tuned for tonight. We'll release our actual live stream links here in the next 30 minutes. And so you can get those saved and be ready to tune in if you're not about to be there. Otherwise, please show up. It's going to be a great time.
Yes.
Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.